Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Press R. 9 years on, the general assessment remark about the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon is that there is a gradual return to normalcy. Kidnapping for ransom, torture, burning of houses, and killings have drastically reduced compared to the early years of the crisis. But according to some critical minds, the problem is still very much around, with the only difference that the opposing parties have simply learned to cohabit. That notwithstanding, some communities have taken local initiatives and are almost completely free from the general problem that persists. In such communities, the army and nation bond will soon get them out of a crisis that is destroying the people it claimed to protect. In areas where there is sincere calm, in the northwest and southwest regions, the locals and their elite, especially the elite, have played a crucial role. This week, a member of the elite of Momo division in the northwest region convinced 8 separatist fighters to drop their weapons and rejoin their community. Other elite in different localities have used different methods to pull the boys out of the bushes. What answer will you give as an elite of a community? Give to someone who asks you, what role have you played to end the armed crisis in the northwest and southwest regions? The role of the elite in ending the northwest-southwest crisis will be our focus on Press R today. I am Kilian Dandifon in Yaoundé. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back. Our focus on Press R today is what is the role of the elite in ending the Northwest-Southwest crisis? And to talk about this, as we earlier mentioned, there are some members of the elite of their community who are breaking the ground to do so many things that are working to end the crisis. Senator Henry Francis Abi is an elite of the Northwest. You're welcome to Press R.
Thank you, Gillian. It's my pleasure being here this morning, actually this afternoon.
Yes, thank you. And we have Dr. Ayuk Takelmeyang, who is an elite of Manu Division in the Southwest region. You're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Kilian. It's always a pleasure to be here to discuss issues that affect the life of all Cameroonians in order to improve on the well-being of Cameroonians.
Ojambeng Stephen is an elite of Momo Division in the Northwest region. You're welcome to Press R, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kilian, for inviting me. It's always my pleasure to be here to share my opinion about nation building. I want to take this opportunity to extend warm regards to my co-panelists, most especially to our televiewers and the goodwill ambassadors of Cameroon, those who love peace.
You're welcome to Press R, Stephen. And let us introduce our own tenant, Lucas Tiafo, who is the publisher and editor-in-chief of the Reporter. Lucas, how are you feeling today? Welcome.
I'm feeling great. I'm always feeling great when I'm come here, because I think when I come here, every time I come here, I might say something that might change the mindset of Cameroonians, and that can improve on the well-being of Cameroonians and add a building block on nation building. So I'm always delighted when you invite me here. And I think with the panel we have here, we're going to say something, we're going to do something, we're going to build confidence in our people, because the topic is timely now, since I look at the presidential election that is looming and other elections that are looming in the horizon. I think this is the time we need to discuss about certain things of bringing peace to Northwest and Southwest that has been in crisis for 9
years running. Thank you so much, Lucas, for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, we're going to invite Emmanuel Avemni, who has been reading the newspapers for us on Press R in our slot press review. Manuela.
Newspapers stay true to happenings around the country, with news on politics stealing the spotlight. The week ending October presidential election, what candidates are saying and doing. Headlines: Cameroon Insider. To Cameroon Tribune, communication from the presidential hopefuls is promising, with both online and offline winning strategies to woo voters well outlined. Maurice Kamto then breaks silence. In the Herald Tribune, accuses Biya's regime and UN for complicity. Yet deadlock persists in the Guardian Post on the search for consensus candidates within the opposition. In the face of such fruitless alliance discussions in municipal updates, opposition candidates rush to choose ballot papers just when Eco Outlook questions: can power return to the north? The Horizon advances reasons why Chiroma merits Kamto's endorsement. The Voice rather sees Bello Buba for president, highlighting initiation of genuine dialogue to resolve Anglophone crisis, an institution of 5-year presidential mandate, and more as reasons. But the Sun newspaper presents SDF's Joshua Osi as a compelling choice. The Post takes interest in Cameroonian bishops who join fray in visiting Etudi as election fever looms. The Roman Catholic bishops that set to pray for peace in News Hub then commit to foster peace, stability and unity in municipal updates, happening when Archbishop Cleda calls for regime change in the Horizon before raising alarm over 2025 election, condemning high cost and urging postponement to avoid further impoverishing Cameroonians in the Voice. Yet the electoral process remains unperturbed, with Elekam on the way with preparations of voting material and election kits in Cameroon Tribune. The population, agriculture and livestock census in Cameroon is then announced for 2026 in Cameroon Tribune. To Cameroon Insider, the population census is set for January 2026. And as government schedules population census for January 2026 in municipal updates, Secondary Education Minister Professor Nalova Lyonga orders closure of 154 clandestine schools nationwide in the Guardian Post. Cameroon Insider is clearer that government closes 154 schools and teacher training colleges for non-compliance nationwide. 2 people are then reportedly murdered in Bamenda within 48 hours, according to News Hub. Just when police officer shot to death soldier he allegedly mistook for Amber fighter in the Guardian Post, Senator Enwi Francis embarks on healing and reconciliation in Widikum in the Horizon newspaper. Before Cameroon's interim Minister of Mines restores order at Kambele mining site in the East region in municipal updates. To the Guardian Post, government rules in favor of indigenous communities by establishing the site as protected, excluded from research and industrial mining exploitation for the benefits of locals. Then France admits repression on nationalist movement during the period 1945 to 1975 in Cameroon Tribune, what Cameroon Insider sees as Macron admitting France's colonial crimes in Cameroon. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Forward to having you come next Sunday, Emmanuel Avenue. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic today on Press R is what is the role of the elite in ending the Northwest-Southwest crisis. We've just listened to Emmanuel Avenue give us what the newspapers fed on during the week. And our pressman on the set here is Denning Lucas Jeffo, who will pick 1 or 2 issues arising from the press review and will comment before we get into fracas.
Yeah, Killian, if I were to pick something from the press review, what I will highlight is the communication of a candidate. Since we're talking about the crisis in Northwest and Southwest regions, and the presidential election is in October 12th. Say October 12th, they have to decide who is going to rule Cameroon. So I'm looking at the communication of each candidate as to resolving the crisis in Northwest and Southwest. You see, Bello Biba in the papers, Bello Biba said is going to look for ways of resolving the crisis. Others have always been very elusive. Even during the last presidential elections, the people who just mentioned that they were going to handle the crisis in Norway and Southwest, and they were elusive. None of them even visited Norway or Southwest. So this 2025 is going to be a turning point for candidates. You go to Norwest or you go to Southwest and you tell the people how you think you're going to resolve the crisis. I think, to me, the communication of each candidate as pertaining to the crisis in Norway and Southwest is capital to this election.
Yes, you cited Bello Buba Magari, who is a candidate. Even the other candidate from the north is Isa Chiruma Bakari, who also talked about handling the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. But Senator, I think they should not just talk about ending the crisis. They should bring out a clear plan on how they are going to end the crisis. What do you think?
Well, like Mr. Teneng said here, it's a bit, they just talk, it's elusive. You can't solve a problem in the air. Any candidate talking must supposed to have gone right to the field, feel the crisis, see for himself what is happening, not only reading on papers or hearing from the news, and then you just say you give a solution. It is deeper than what you think. Those of us coming from there see it in a different way, and somebody just imagining it will give a solution that will actually not yield any fruits. But that notwithstanding, I know many people are putting a lot of efforts to see that the problem is solved. The elite are not sleeping in all the two regions. I know they are not sleeping. They are carrying out very positive actions in the field, and some may not be made public. So, if you can say or assess the crisis now compared to 3-4 years back, you'll see that I think peace has returned to the Northwest and Southwest to an extent. And at this extent, it needs a particular approach, not more the guns. The guns will not solve this problem. The time for the guns in the air is over. It's time now for us to start managing at the level of our communities. Every community should put its own strategy. The strategy I may put in Momo may not work in Bui.
Yes, that's what we'll be talking about when we'll be developing this program. So you just hold. For now, we're talking about what the candidates, presidential election candidate, should say about the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region. We have one of the candidates is Ateki Seta Caxton, who is from that part of the country. How do you think he and others who are also planning to solve that problem should behave? What plan should they put on the table? Yes, Dr. Tekime.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Killian. I want to continue from where the senator ended. Just like he rightly said, it's not time to make promises. I think to end the crisis, much has been done, and we need to continue to educate the people and tell them the truth that we cannot make a better Cameroon in a crisis, in a conflict situation. Peace is a public good, and when there is peace in Cameroon, all Cameroonians are going to benefit. What I insist so much that the candidates should do is a lot of education and communication in order to end this crisis and prevent future crises so that we can live as Cameroonians, we can be happy. And as you know, no meaningful growth and development can take place in a country without peace. So I believe in ending this crisis, more is about understanding, communication, and not promises.
Yes, Stephen, what do you say? What do you expect the candidates to give you as a plan to end the Northwest-Southwest crisis?
Mr. Killian, to be very frank, I am not seeing any way forward for those who are talking about the conflict which is going on in the northwest and southwest. We are talking of a conflict that has escalated to an armed conflict. It has a lot of repercussion. If these candidates had good intentions, I think they should have been telling us now about what they have done on the ground and seeking a mandate to complete what they started. People will not wait and see people die without them taking any step as politicians to help get the people out of the conflict. They wait for elections to come for them to have a cheap way to tell the people, we will end the conflict, we will do this if we are given an opportunity. I think it's just a campaign slogan, because there are a lot of issues to look into it if we are talking of ending the conflict. Because there is an aftermath when the conflict gets to the level of an armed conflict. People have hurt others. Families are now almost getting into the conflict, looking at each family to the other. So for somebody to come and say that if he's given an opportunity to be voted as a president, he's going to end the conflict, it's a theory. It's a theory. We need practical examples. You tell Cameroonians that since this conflict started, this is what I have done, and this is the procedure I want to engage to be able to end the conflict. And after the ceasefire of the armed conflict, this is the next procedure which I want to take to ensure that peace return to these restive areas and the various families that are affected. For me, I just see them using the Anglophone conflict to be a leeway for them to campaign. I don't think Anglophones are stupid, but they have the right to decide what they want.
Cameroonians may be not only the Anglophones, because the crisis is affecting the whole country. I don't see anyone in this country who is not affected by that crisis, directly or indirectly. And for the most part, I think people are affected directly, because when our economy has problems because of that, or part of our country, it affects everyone. Now, we're going to move on to our focus, ladies and gentlemen, which is directly linked to this issue that we were commenting on. And it is, what is the role of the elite in ending the Northwest-Southwest crisis? We are going to take one report of something that happened in the Northwest region and another paper, so you know exactly where we are coming from, what sparked the choice for the topic that we have today. Manuel Sala, who is a reporter, CRTV reporter in the Northwest, covered an event in Bamenda in Widikum where separatist fighters, 8 of them, were pulled back, convinced to leave the bushes and come back to the community. Let us watch this report.
Widikum, victims meet perpetrators, not to battle and avenge, but to reconcile.
I don't forgive them. Jesus will forgive all we our sin the way we do them. Then I don't forgive them. I don't forgive them. Whatsoever thing they don't do me, I don't forgive them.
I don't get a 5 picking, 4 grand picking for this trouble. Overthinking, have a lot in their head. I don't forgive them. I don't forgive. If you remember, you will ever see them again.
Sorry for beating people, some killing of innocent people, houses burned, people dying, and so forth, so on. So I'm sorry about that.
Man no cry. Man no call me say they don't catch me welcome. I no go answer.
8 separatist fighters disarm and join the reconciliation event. Some at the close of it, adding the numbers to about 15, just within a year of 2 symbolic visits by this influential son of the soil.
You have seen the number that have come out again today. We are still getting calls of some indicating we shall empty Widikum subdivision, we shall empty the neighboring subdivisions, and peace must reign in Momo division.
with the Komi still reeling with isolated acts of insecurity, especially along its borders with Oyster Batibo. But market scenes like this, observers suggest, point to resilience.
Thank you. That is Valerie Rada Nsala, not Iman. Of course, you watch that report. It situates us on what's happening. And the most recent event that happened in the Northwest, particularly in Widikum. I just need your comment. First, Lucas.
Kilian, you just permit me say something about the issue of elite. And I will say something differently about Senator Enwe, who is sitting next to me here. You see, a seasoned poultry farmer can immediately distinguish cocks from hens when the chicks hatch. What am I saying? When Senator Enwe came back from South Africa and wanted to join politics, so Zambian here will not tell me a different story. We had our friends who were already in the political ground, on the political field, and were trying to be. But the elites from Momo decided they wanted to select somebody. And one of the aspirants took us there, took us 4 journalists to the hall, because he was already feeling a bit threatened that maybe he will not be selected. And if he's not selected, we should write against it. But unfortunately, when we entered the hall and they asked the guys to present their manifestos, when Senator Enwe, that was the first time I was seeing him, when he got up and presented what he had done in South Africa with documents and what he intends to do, I think everybody got dumbfounded and they allowed him to go to Parliament. That saying, I want to come to the definition of an elite. Who is an elite? Because
before we get there, you said he was inciting you to write.
Somebody else was inciting us to write if he was not elected,
okay.
if he was not selected. But when we entered there and he was not selected and Senator Enwe was selected, we saw that was the right choice. Because the person who was even asking us to follow him, he had nothing to tell the people. So Senator Enwe, from that day, I knew him as somebody who knew where he was going to and what he wanted to do.
Yes. I will come back to you to define who an elite is. It's part of our program.
Yes.
I just want us first to comment on those 8 separatist fighters whom he convinced to leave the bushes and come back to the community. When you watch that, what do you make of it, Dr. Ayuk?
Thank you, Kilian. I want to start by, first of all, thanking the senator. That is what politics is. That is what an elite should do, telling your people nothing but the truth. As I said earlier, it's people who decide to get into conflict. And whenever they think that the conflict is not benefiting them, they want to put an end to it. They have a choice. For the young people, I think certain things were lacking. They didn't get the best of education. Okay, they didn't get the best of education. And that is why at this time I want to also use the opportunity to thank all of those in the Northwest, Southwest, and even in the diaspora who are advocating peace. I think for so many of those involved to change, we need to tell them the truth, that we cannot continue like that. We have to build Cameroon, and they are all Cameroonians. They have the right to education, and if they continue living in that type of a condition, I don't think we can foster ahead. So I think once more, I want to thank the senator, and I think other parliamentarians, senators, and even mayor, they should continue with efforts to make young people return to school and get to work so that our area can develop.
Stephen, I saw you in the images in Wildekum as an elite of Momo. You were there. Tell us how you felt on the spot. We are feeling from the report, but you were on the spot. How did you feel at the time you saw these boys going down on their knees to apologize to people they have hurt, to people whose family members they have killed, maimed? Ma'am, tell us.
Thank you, Mr. Killian. Let me use this opportunity to give a pat on the back of Honorable Senator Abi Francis Engwe. It's wonderful. This is what is expected of every elect. At a point in time like this, when we find ourselves deep into a conflict, everybody should engage to see what part he or she can contribute to bring it down to the lowest term. And before I dive in, because I was an eyewitness, I was there present, and also as somebody who have suffered in this conflict. Yeah.
You were kidnapped. You suffered.
You see,
you were
Mr.
kidnapped
Killian, by the same separatist fighters.
And you stayed in their camp?
In their camp.
For how long?
2 months, 2 weeks, 4 days.
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw some of the guys who were molesting me, torturing me there. I saw some of them. But they said to err is human and to forgive is divine. Let me tell you something, Mr. Killian. When there is a conflict, the first thing is that you map that conflict. Because when you map the conflict, you begin to know the root causes, the stakeholders. And for you to engage into any conflict resolutions, there are 10 most important points you must take into consideration. Number 1 is communication. You must be able to communicate with the people at the affected areas to be able to have concrete information about who is playing what role. Number 2, you must have an active listening ear. You must listen to whoever is giving you information about what is happening on the ground. Number 3, there must be neutrality and impartiality. That is, to you who wants to resolve the conflict. Because sometimes it can even get to a level where you who is even attempting to resolve the conflict, you find yourself guilty of some of the grievances they are tabling. Number 4 is respect and empathy. You must respect even the people who have hurt you. Respect them and have empathy. Now then you can have a way to get into them. Number 5, objective analysis. You must be objective when you are analyzing the conflict. These are some of the issues you must take in consideration when you want to go into conflict resolution. Number 6 is flexibility and compromise. You must compromise at times. Sometimes you can let go something because you know what you want to gain to bring a group of people out of the conflict. Because if you hold tight to your opinion, and you see that a lot of people are dying because you are holding tight to your opinion, you are not helping. So you can compromise sometimes.
That's what Dr. Ayub described earlier as peace being a common good.
Yes.
Okay.
Very important. Number 7 is emotional management. You must know how to manage your own emotions and the emotions of the people. Because sometimes you can flare up. You see, you're trying to solve a problem and then they say something which can get you flare up, you aggravate the situation. Number 8 is structural framework. You must look at the structures. How do you structure it? How do you want to start getting to this conflict resolution? Do I start here? Am I using development associations? Am I using youth groups? Am I using farming groups? You must have a structure. Number 9 is commitment and motivation. You will not think that you will succeed without committing yourself and motivating even the people who are giving you information which you'll be able to resolve the conflict. And the number 10 point is a follow-up and evaluation. This, I want to say that Honorable Senator Emile Francis, I'm talking as an expert in conflict, and I went there, I observed what was going on. First, he committed seasoned conflict experts. I'm talking of Professor Nsok Christopher and his team. They started by drilling the people. There were a seminar to drill the people. They have the leadership training, they had the psychological healing, and the conflict itself. Through that training, a lot of the people who were in the hall went back with knowledge and saw that there was need for them to forgive each other and be able to have information on what to tell those who were not there. So in conflict, you must have to take all this in consideration.
Thank you for that free of charge lecture you have given to us. The only thing you are saying it was applied in Widikum. with this knowledge you have, what have you been waiting for 9 years on for us to be in this type of crisis?
My dear brother, I want to say that, like Honorable Senator Abi Francis said, a lot of people are working backstage. If the conflict is getting down and down the way it was in the 2016, 2017, 2018, it means people are putting effort to ensure that there is peace. I, for one, have attempted solutions. I even went down where my own life was put in danger because I really was looking for how we can solve the problem. These are evidence to tell you that we don't just sit in our comfort zones and begin to talk about the conflict. We get there to see it. If I did not go there, I would not be kidnapped. If I was only in Yaoundé talking,
Yes,
I would not be kidnapped.
I know you, and I agree. You are always going back to your village.
Let me just to take this other issue, please. To tell you that in Momo Division, we are doing a lot. There have been so many peace missions going down to the field. Unlike Senator Abi Francis Emwe has a different approach and is succeeding in bringing out the other people, I can also tell you that the minister is doing a lot in Samba Acha. She has organized a series of meetings where materials have been issued to people to empower them, because we must also be looking at empowerment, because people have lost a lot. And one of the root causes is that when the mind is idle, they're going to think of another way of surviving. So it needs empowerment. Just like the senator gave bikes to some other youths there, that's empowerment. So I think a lot of our elites are doing so much, even in the Northwest. In the Southwest, they're doing so much. They're not just sleeping. But the approach that has been used by Honorable Senator Emwe Francis is different. People have different approach on how to tackle this conflict to resolve it.
I take this advantage, this occasion, as an advantage to tell you that one of the areas in Cameroon, in the Northwest and Southwest especially, where we started seeing peace in the midst of the conflict is Bangem. Bangem is Kupe Manimbu, I think.
Yes, in the south.
The people came together and made sure that they ended that in their community. And we also have part of, is it Fotabe, Opatintu, in Manyo Division?
Yeah.
The community also have worked so hard that it's very difficult for you to see some of those atrocities happen. Other people are doing so much. Now, this is not the time that I will give you the microphone, Senator Emwe Francis. It's just to appreciate, how do you feel when you hear people talk so good, so well about you? Questions about what happened, and then your approach will come later. Just how do you feel after taking such an initiative?
Well, in fact, you feel motivated. I feel happy, and sometimes I get very emotional because I didn't know the impact of what that it will come out with the impact that I'm seeing out there. There's so many calls from people, messages appreciating all these efforts, which I sometimes say I transfer them to all who took part in this process, because it was a whole aspect of teamwork involving the traditional rulers, the administration, the security forces, the youths who played a major role. So I'll say, if there's any thank you to me, I say I transfer it to all of them.
Yes, and I would like to point out here that on this program, just 1-2 years when this conflict was on, you came to this set. At the time, nobody wanted to identify with these boys because they were causing so much atrocities. You declared on this set that you were talking with them, and it took so many people aback. You insisted. So, what courage? Where did you take this courage from?
You know,
one, accepting what everybody did not want to accept. 2, taking the risk of getting close to people we knew, especially in the past, to be dangerous, to be violent, to be really so bad to those who did not accept what they wanted.
I think it's that's the way politicians should actually do things differently. You know, the two of us can take the same approach on something, but the way I will implement my own will have a different impact. Yeah. All of that is, I will call it my own wisdom, my own experience in handling issues. Killian, you should know that I have a background as a clergy. Mm. And coming into politics makes me feel that it's time to deliver. And I must do things like what I preach. I said here that time, I talked to these boys. It was not easy. When I went out of here, I was receiving calls. So you talk to them. I say yes. And, you know, when you have a problem, you don't go talking to your friends. Talk to the enemy. That's where you solve the problem. And that was the approach I used, to talk to the enemy. The time people could not even gather them in the diaspora and talk to them, I pulled them together. The leaders, I have pictures. And they talk and handed candles, ready for peace in 2020. The time they could not listen to anybody because they believed they have won. But they came together and accepted to talk. Though it didn't go the way we thought, I decided to concentrate on the ground, to talk to the boys down here. Now, some in the beginning were not, could not accept, talk to you. They shout at you and so on. But as time went on, they started changing. Their tunes started changing. And then at some point, you see them calling you daddy, then you know that you've gotten them. And as daddy now, you talk to them like daddy. And that's when they start getting some sense. That was just the approach we use. Yes. But there are other approaches that I keep them in my pocket.
Okay. Now, Lucas, we are asking, what is the role of the elite in ending the Northwest-Southwest crisis? This is an elite of the Northwest. Who is doing this? We have members of the elite of the Southwest who are using, as you have rightly said, different methods to solve this problem. Now, who do we consider actually as an elite? Someone who has a post of responsibility in high office? Because sometimes that is what we...
The issue that if you even look at the definition of elite in the dictionary, it is not really positive, because somebody says an elite is somebody who has a disproportionate power, influence, and status over the others. Yes, if you have that disproportionate power, influence, and status over the others, it means you have influence over them. You can use that influence to solve it. So it can be positive as well, can be negative. Negative in the sense that there are some of them who have this disproportionate power and they prioritize their own interests. When they prioritize their own interests, they perpetuate conflicts. They might be the cause of even the conflict that they are trying to solve without knowing it, because of their actions on the field. Take for instance, when Honorable Senator Inwe was parliamentarian, he had taken more than 20 teams to his Befang village there for water. I've been part of it. I went and covered his events. When you don't have that trust of the people, no matter what you say, I have people, elite, who call themselves elite, are sitting here in Yaoundé, because people don't trust them. They cannot talk and the people listen. Because it's issues that don't have a disproportionate power, influence, and so, because this disproportionate power comes from what? Your wealth, your political status, or your political career, or maybe your post, or your social status, or your skills, particular skills. When you have some particular skills in a particular field, you might be considered an elite. But are you using it for the development of your people, or you're using it to subjugate them? So an elite can be negative. There's a flip side of it. The flip side of it is that most of them, some of the boys even went to the bushes. Pick on us because they saw that there was some disproportionate world between them and others. Maybe even your own family, you have somebody who is very wealthy, but he doesn't want to help his younger brother or his cousins who want just to go to school. You have to send them to go to school. Imagine that those guys who are idle there in the village, and you have wealth, you've built houses, and this is... One time when he had not gone to school, he doesn't even see the importance of the properties that you have. Yes. That's why most of them, Senator Inwe sitting here, his property was destroyed. He's sitting there, their property was destroyed. But that did not deter them from thinking differently. Others have just, other elite have just used that as a pretext. They have resettled in comfort zones, let me call them present comfort zones, and they are making it big here. They don't want to go anywhere. So those type of elite are the people perpetrating the conflict. Because if they had gone back home, Senator Inwe goes back home, he was going back home and he was kidnapped and spent 2 months in custody. That has not stopped him from going back home. Why are others thinking that only others can go home? And the elite, this is the time they can end the conflict in the North and Southwest. September is coming. Back to school. This back to school, they should buy books. They should build classrooms. They should even go home and clean those classrooms and ask children to go to school. When they ask children to go to school, it has two effects. First is that they occupy the children. Second is that the guys who are in the bushes will not recruit these children. The children will have something doing. You can use football. Everybody likes football. You can use football tourneys and bring peace. Others are doing it, although they're sitting in Yaoundé, but they have put football tournaments in their villages, and they're bringing out the youth.
So thank you so much. You have explained it so clearly. Lucas, thank you once again. Dr. Ayuk and Mr. Ojambeng. I will ask this question to both of you, one answer after the other. From what Lucas is saying, we should consider someone as an elite and accept such a person only when they have a positive influence in the community. What do you think?
I will agree with him that elites are exceptional. It may be economically or when it comes to knowledge. They have certain knowledge that others will not have. And I want to argue strongly that if you are an elite, you should have a positive impact in your community. You shouldn't become an elite if you have a negative impact. What do we expect from elite? We expect elite to empower the younger generation, tell them the truth.
To develop their community.
Yes, I want to say that in 2016, when this crisis, I was in my area, I was the Development and Cultural Association president. I used to go there. We started by organizing holiday sporting events. And during holidays, we'll see those guys, they want to come and play football. When they get to the field, sometimes we will now communicate with them and tell them the truth. I want to also use this opportunity to thank especially our minister, Minister Victor Are Mengot, for his effort. I want to thank the divisional officer of Opabanyang, Fongonu Amadou. This crisis is not in any way linked to politics. And always what is very important that elites should do, when you get there, don't link it with politics. Tell the people the truth, empower them, make them to be knowledgeable. I'm sure there was a knowledge gap. That is why we got to this situation, which I am advising that to fill this knowledge gap.
Dr. Ayuk, so many people who have the knowledge of conflict resolution and who have a knowledge of conflict development have said that this crisis in Cameroon is political and only a political approach will bring the solution. How are you saying the opposite?
Thank you, Kilian. I don't want that we should go to the root cause of this crisis, because if we want to link it to the teacher strike and the lawyer strike, okay, the teachers and the lawyers are presently going. They are carrying out their daily activities. Lawyers, they elected their representative a few days ago, which means that there's a state of normalcy there. But why is the crisis still going on? I want to say that this crisis, there was a missing gap in terms of communication, a missing gap in terms of education, a missing gap in terms of empowerment. And if we start by filling those gaps, we can, in a way, stop the crisis. And the problem is not only to eradicate the crisis completely, but to prevent future occurrence. That is my concern. How do we prevent future occurrences?
Yes, I agree with your approach as your opinion, but I am still repeating that many people up to now know that only a political decision will end the crisis. Now we're not
No,
going
let
to.
me let me say let me say a word. Let me say a word. And linking the crisis with politics is deceiving the people, and that is why you see always politicians want to they want to paint a picture using the crisis for their personal gains.
I'm afraid we'll hold it there, and maybe we'll bring another topic where we're going to see whether it's political or not. But up to this moment, echoes are resounding that it is only a political approach that will end this crisis. Yes, Honorable Jambe, I'll give you 2 minutes. I know you talk so much. Yes, please, just 2 minutes on a lead. You are an elite of Momo, especially from Momo West.
Yep, Momo West.
Momo West.
Yeah.
What should the people, what do you give the people as an elite, and what should the people consider an elite in their place? Please be brief, 2 minutes.
Well, I don't know why you want me to be brief, but
because I will give you more time.
Please. This is a very sensitive point which you're saying, because who is elite? The people call you elite. The people look at you as an elite. And why do they look at you as an elite? It is because of the way you give back to the society, to your community. That's what qualifies you an elite. You can be a doctor, you can be a mechanic. If a mechanic gives back to the people than you, the doctor, they refer to that mechanic as an elite than you, who is a doctor.
Are you sure that that is not theory, that it is practice? Because what I know is that when someone is appointed into a post of responsibility, social status changes. That person overnight becomes an elite.
Well,
then even the people who are going and digging the roads who do not have a social status are hardly considered an elite, because today just that position you are a member of the elite from one place gives you some advantages others don't have. So what you are saying, is it what is supposed to be or what we have on the ground?
Well, Killian, I want to be very frank here. Yes, the academic class, they are learned people, they are people of certain standard in a given society that sees themselves as an elite. So it depends on what you define an elite to be. In my definition, I say an elite is that person who recognizes his influence on the society and give it back to the people. You understand? Why are we giving it back to the people? You impact the life of the people from the area where you are coming from, to see that they feel that they have somebody that they can rely on. There's a shoulder that they can lean on when they are in difficulties. That's the person I want to look at as an elite. Well, if you were looking at an elite, people who have been appointed into offices as ministers, directors, generals,
that's
and
what
all
we
the
have.
like.
I'm not the one saying it.
Well,
that's what we have.
I gave you my definition to whom I want to consider as an elite.
Yes, I will come back to you.
Yes.
What happened in Widikum, as you have said, and I agree, is an initiative out of the ordinary. And we're going to ask Senator Enwe Francis some questions about his approach, about what he actually did, and about the procedure. But before we did that, let us watch some of the images of that occasion.
You know me, that I come with solutions, and I will present this open call to you now. Drop your weapons and come out. Let us process your freedom together through the right channel. There are motorbikes here, as you can see. 2024, 7 years after coming back, to the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, he feels your pain. He asked me to take some steps, and I followed his instructions. There was a call for individuals to present their cases of stolen or destroyed bikes with proofs. The motorbikes lying up here today were assembled here in Winnipeg. Therefore, they are all on 000 kilometers.
Your dedication to reconciliation and healing has borne fruit, and we are grateful for your leadership.
Wow, quite impressive. At this moment, Senator Henry Francis, how many bikes did you give to them?
I gave them 45 bikes.
From where did the bikes come?
I gave them 45 bikes.
You
through
gave
my
them?
contacts, through my negotiations. You know, I'm a good negotiator. So I had to negotiate and had my sponsors who actually, after seeing the project, accepted and said, go ahead.
And on the pictures there, I heard you say that those whom you gave the bikes, apart from those you pulled out of the bushes, are people whose bikes were proven, the proof that their bikes were destroyed by this. How did you prove that?
Yeah, I'm from Widikum. I actually sent a team, and I think started with a pastor, and told him, I need this information, but don't mention my name. Say it's an NGO. Asking the names of people who died from the crisis and those who lost their bikes during the crisis. He started the information, started gathering information. That was since December 2024 that I started this project. And when we got the information, most of the cases are cases that I know because I communicate a lot with my people in Widikum.
Yes, you communicate with everybody.
So we got the
including
list
these
of
boys.
the bikes.
Yeah.
We went through. Some people actually filled forms when their bikes were not stolen. And when we had to investigate, we saw that this person never had a bike before.
Now, are you sure there are not people who lost their bikes and they have not had the bike?
Yeah, the bikes were few. We need more. We need more bikes to really know that we've accomplished all, because some were not gotten, and then even when I was in Widikum, people rushed to me, my bike, and they gave instances that I knew of some 3, 4, 5 years back.
Now, on a very serious note, I'm not saying before it was not serious.
Mm-hmm.
I should say on a more serious note, when you pull these boys from the bush, you bring them to reconcile with these people. In our newsroom, one of our newsroom reporters asked me whether sincerely, when you bring these people from the bush to the public square to apologize, giving the pictures of members of people's brothers and sisters, parents whom they killed, do you take that seriously, that the forgiveness is sincere and it will go down as human beings?
Like I said, from the inception of this project, I took what happened in South Africa. Desmond Tutu of Blessed Moribo was a friend of mine. I can show you pictures, me and him. And when the crisis started, I was sent on a mission to Rwanda by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Kavaye Yege Jibri. I was there for 2 weeks to work on the Rwandan genocide. I visited all the memorials in Rwanda and met with many organizations that worked towards the peace process. So coming to put all of this together, I said, but I think we can implement this. Let me start in Widikum, where I master so well, and see what I can do.
This is the point, Senator. When you take these people whose minds have been formatted in a particular way and is violent, do you think that it's just by coming and saying, I forgive?
Oh,
that
no. The ones that said that came out yesterday, the other day, to say they forgive, are those that we removed long before. They went to DDR.
That's the question I want to ask.
Yes, they were in DDR and were communicating with the authorities. So when it was this time, they had to go back.
The DDR, for those who do not know, is the National Commission
for demobilization,
for disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
whose national coordinator is Mr. Faye?
His Excellency Fayengo Francis, who is doing quite well to manage the structure.
Okay.
Yeah, and so when we brought them back, people's angers actually gone down. And remember the workshop that Honorable Jamin said there had a program on peace and reconciliation where the victims were in the hall and the perpetrators.
Very good. So those that you remove from the bushes now, the 8.
The 8 now were not part of this reconciliation.
So where are the 8?
They are now in Bamenda. I took them same day. We had a meeting at the governor's office that same day. I handed them there officially, and they are now in DDR. Okay,
you've answered our worry.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go around the set to look at what's happening, the way forward, because we have just 4 minutes to go to the end of this program. You said I pulled the microphone away from you, Ojambeng Stephen. The way forward.
Yes, the way forward. Let me first of all want to also acknowledge the effort of Minister Mbaacha Rosne from on the ground. She's been doing a lot, and she has made so many attempts in Momo Division to ensure that we extend empathy and sympathy to those who have been affected. Like I said before, equipments have been given to so many families to empower them, farming groups and all the like in Bengui. And all the subdivisions were brought to the divisional headquarters, which is in Bengui, and those things were distributed. Again, she is also organizing a football competition worth 25 million, where all the subdivisions are participating. You know, through football, these guys can easily communicate with those who are around. I think gradually we are getting to somewhere. But I must say this, that though Honorable Senator Engwe Francis is doing a tremendous job, he should know that he's senator for Momo Division, so it should extend this to other part of Momo Division, not only with the company. But let me just take this.
3 minutes. We have
1 minute, just 1 minute to say
I will
that.
come back to you. We will have time.
All right.
Yes, Doctor Ayuk.
Okay. The missing gap. We need to fill the missing gap. The elites, they need to fill the missing gap. When I talked about the missing gap, we need to empower the younger generation in education and communication. If you discover, you see some young people who can be 14 or 18 years involved, it's not a problem of politics, as you were saying. It's a problem of communication and education. Some of those young people were deceived. I used to go to Manu Division, to the village in 2016, 2017, 2018. They were deceived. There was one who told me that, bro, you're asking me to leave the bush when they have promised us to give us 65 million. Can you give me 65 million? So I think that we need to tell the people the truth. We need to educate them. No crisis, no conflict will ever be win-win. Even it's a win-lose situation.
We need to communicate.
We need empowerment. We need education and
less than
communication.
2 minutes to go. Yes, Lucas.
Yeah, I will still go back to Honorable Jamin. He said an elite, because I want to buy his idea of an elite.
Yes.
An elite, even my mother in the village, who can impact other women, I consider an elite. And you don't need to hold a post of responsibility before you become an elite. Or you don't need to hold a post of responsibility before you can impact on your community. I will remind you of something.
No,
when this crisis started, there was one called Northwest Elite, Sir Barrister Ntumfuni Kohale. He proposed 14 points that could end the conflict. Nobody took him nobody took him seriously because he was not considered a political elite. But I think if we had followed his 14 points, you don't need to be a politician before you become an elite.
Now, my producer is saying that the time is up. 30 seconds. I cannot fail to give you that 30 seconds.
I think the way forward, now that Widicum has embraced peace, Momo is fully coming to have peace and is breeding peace. I think government should turn now the hand to tap and pat the back of the Momo people. We, the Kum, doesn't have electricity for the past 7 years.
You have started well.
They should start scratching their back now because
you are the messenger. Yes, I agree with you. You are the messenger.
The demand will keep flowing to government to do a lot of things for Widikum so that since they have embraced peace,
thank you, Senator.
Also scratch their back.
Thank you so much, Senator. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We have Tam Weekend that's coming up, so please just keep glued to your screen. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Kilian.